Hello, I'm Tracy Friend from Liberating the Heart, and in this video I'm going to talk about what do synchronicities mean. So in my work offering spiritual coaching over the last 20 years, I've seen again and again that as people engage in more spiritual practice, they come into closer connection with who they really are and they start experiencing more synchronicities, so more coincidences that they can't explain logically. And what happens is, as we're engaging in these different spiritual practices, we're releasing any resistance. So we're making any negative thoughts that we have less active within our mind. And then we're coming into greater connection with who we are. So the negative thoughts we can almost think as more of a solidified energy. And the closer we get into connection with our true self, with emotions such as inspiration, love, and appreciation, then our energy is more free flowing, it's more fluid. And then things that seem miraculous can happen in that state. Because in that state of the free flowing energy, we're more connected to everyone and everything. So those barriers or those solidified blocks that might have been in place before are less present. So I'm going to give a couple of examples from my own experience. So I was in Nepal in November and December of last year in Kathmandu. And Nepal, I find to be a very spiritual country, very spiritually alive. It's Hindu or different religions, but predominantly Hindu and Buddhist, and they live in harmony with each other there, and many different temples. And when I'm there, there's a sense of feeling spiritually held. There's a sense of if something arises and a challenge comes up, a sense that I can deal with it because of this strong spiritual energy there. So felt very good when I was there. Towards the end of my stay, I was staying at this Tibetan Buddhist monastery, Shichen Monastery. And I had a spare day and I thought, oh, I'd like to get a book and just read more about the Tibetan Buddhist culture. So I found this bookshop, and most of the books weren't in English, but there was a small number of books in English. And this one particular book lit up to me, and I thought, oh, I'll buy that one. It was by a monk who's passed now called Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. And I thought, I was reading the book and I thought, I really find him interesting. He seemed like he had quite a magical life. He seemed spiritually very powerful. And then I also bought what was called an amulet, which is a necklace with some sort of writing inside with Tibetan Buddhist prayers on it. And the man in the shop where I bought it, he said, oh, you can ask for that to be blessed by a monk or a nun. And I was staying in this area of Kathmandu called Bodha, where there's a big Bodha stupa, the big Buddhist statue, where all the pilgrims are walking around it every day, constantly. And so I thought, oh, well, I could ask one of the monastics that are walking around the stupa. But then I thought, where I was staying, there was an elderly monk, and I'd be meditating most mornings, and he'd come in and give me some chai tea and coconut biscuit. And I thought, he's the one that I want to ask because he's very joyful and kind. So the next day I went and I took the amulet, the necklace to him. And like his English was limited, but I kind of explained, could he bless it for me? And the room that I was in, he took it into another room and he was pressing the amulet against some pictures and different kind of ornaments or objects in this other room. And it felt very special, like he was going through this ritual to bless it. And then I had the thought, oh, I'd really like to meet someone that had met Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. I think he passed away about 30 years ago. And I thought maybe the monk that had blessed the amulet might have met him, but I wasn't sure. And then I found out that the room where the monk had blessed the amulet, that was the room at Shichen Monastery where Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche used to greet visitors. It was his room, and there was a picture of him in there, and the monk had placed the amulet against the picture. So I kind of came to the end of my trip. I went to the airport. I got there really early. And as I arrived, there was a monk outside the airport. And he kind of approached me and asked for assistance. He wanted to find out where his flight to Singapore was going from. Because I had loads of time. I thought, oh, I can help him. And then we just chatted for a few minutes. And it turned out that he had previously met and known Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. So that's just an example of a synchronicity where, all these kind of things conspired and it felt like there was a bigger picture. It felt like there was more going on. than I could explain logically. And that's another theme of synchronicities. It can help us to have the faith that we're not alone. It's like there's this thread running through our lives. There might be times where maybe we do feel that we're unsupported. And then these sort of things can happen that's, logically we couldn't really explain just by chance. And it can help to build our trust that there is a bigger picture. We might call it different things. Some people might be the universe, the higher power. Build our trust that we are being supported. There is more meaning in our life. And then through having a regular spiritual practice, we can start to live more and more in that realm of possibility, more and more in that realm of being guided, where these sort of supportive interactions with the universe can happen more and more frequently. So hopefully this video has given you some more information about why you might be having synchronicities if you're experiencing them. And I also feel it can be a big encouragement when we are experiencing synchronicities to encourage us to keep going with our practice. I've also seen in my coaching that when people start experiencing synchronicities, often they're very close to things that they want manifesting because they're more connected to who they really are. They're more in that free flow of energy, in that high vibration, in a state of allowing. And it's in that state where good things that people have asked for can start to flow into their experience more easily. So thank you for watching.